R. Kelly's defense in his sex trafficking trial did not go too well. My understanding is he didn't even want to testify. So R.
Hardest
Kelly,
move he could have made. That's a
if
smart
there's
move, actually.
if there's one thing about R. Kelly, he may traffic underage women. He may shit on them and any other depraved thing you could think of, but he ain't no snitch. Go ahead.
This is a trial that's very interesting. Now, to put in contrast before I start off, the prosecution's case was over 4 weeks. They had 40 witnesses, and of those 40 witnesses, 11 of them were actual like accusers, like had actually been sexually assaulted by Mr. Kelly. I'm going to call him Mr. Kelly because I no longer have respect for him as a man, and I'm going to show it by not giving him his artist name. So, Mr. Kelly, you are a regular citizen now, so I will speak to you as such. You brought 5 witnesses forth in your case. Well, your defense brought forth 5 witnesses compared to the 40 that the prosecution had. Great start. Let's start off with the first witness. His name is Mr. Larry Hood. Now, Mr. Larry Hood is a former police officer and longtime friend of Mr. Kelly. Now, we all know we can trust police officers, right? This guy knows. We can trust police officers, right?
Some of them.
Of course. So he testified on Monday, and he testified that he had never, ever, ever, he'd never seen Mr. Kelly with an underage female. He then later went on to later testify that he had met Aaliyah when she was with Mr. Kelly. And of course, when she was with Mr. Kelly, she was 15 years old. He also testified that he knew one of the other accusers of Mr. Kelly, who, of course, when he knew her, was underage. But not only did he know that she was underage, but under testimony, he called her one of the young ladies.
Hmm.
One of the young ladies. Okay, he'd never seen her with underage girls. Great start. Let's move on from there because when you start off like that, you know you got to go to something better, right? So number two is Mr. Dane Ramnanan. I don't care if I'm saying it right or wrong. And you know why I don't care. He testified also on Monday, and he testified that he had been around Mr. Kelly for 15 years. And when I say around Mr. Kelly, he means like he was like his right-hand man. He was his Tommy. He was the Tommy to Mr. Kelly's ghost. Okay, that's what he made it sound like. And he had never ever seen Mr. Kelly hit a woman or be anywhere abusive towards women. And he had been on every tour with Mr. Kelly. So a lot of things happened during the tour. So this was great. This is great news. They then asked him which tours he had been on. He couldn't name any of them. They then showed him a few photos. Yeah, that's a great start, right? They then showed him 3 photos of Mr. Kelly on various tour buses with women and his friends, Mr. Kelly's friends, and then asked Mr. Ramnanan, Mr. Bam Bam Ding a Ling Ding Dong, to point himself out in the photos. Can we see where you are? Because apparently you were always there. You were always around. So just point out where you were. And of course, he couldn't find himself because he wasn't there. This is witness number 2, ladies and gentlemen. This is R. Kelly's defense so far. And we're only just past Monday. So Tuesday, a Mr. Jeff Meeks comes forward, and Mr. Meeks testified that he had worked with Mr. Kelly from 2002 until 2019. And he said that he had never seen Mr. Kelly with any underage girls, nor had he seen any girls that were locked up in any of these apparent rooms. He later went on to testify that he saw a girl once leaving R. Kelly's studio and said that he felt relieved that she got to leave, that she made it out. When she was escaping from the studio room, from the actual room, and was running by these guys, people recalled him saying, "Oh shit, what do we do?" Sounds very innocent, very, very, yeah, nonchalant, nothing. You knew that nothing was going on in the studio. And by asking, what do we do? You meant like, do we get her sandwiches? Or you think she would want a beverage at this time? She looked parched. You know, she looked a little tired. Maybe we should find some Gatorade. Get her some electrolytes. You're an asshole. Let's move on. The last two witnesses gave their testimony. Okay, this is going to move super fast, guys, because they were also unimportant and ineffective in Mr. Kelly's defense. Julius Darrington, who testified that he had never seen Mr. Kelly get physical with women or lock them up, also went on to quickly say that he had never spent any time privately with Mr. Kelly. So he had never been in any of the private situations with Mr. Kelly that he had been in. They'd all been public. And when I say public, I mean meet and greets, concerts, on stage, and parties. So there you go. That's another witness that they had. The last one, an accountant. Here we go. The guy who's got the numbers is the guy you can trust, right?
Of course.
The guy who's got the numbers is the guy you can trust. Mr. John Holder said, of course, like everybody else, he'd never seen Mr. Kelly abuse his girlfriends. He then also went on to say, but you know what? Most of the time, we weren't in the same room. So for everybody that's watching this, and I want to speak specifically to the men. I want to speak specifically to the men because we've put up numerous Kelly videos. And I'm sorry, I'm spieling for this whole video. This guy knows how I feel about this topic. I love the music, but this topic really bothers me. So for all the men that are watching this that were in our comments defending Mr. Kelly early on in this thing when we had a video that did super well. Thank you to everybody that watched that video. Link that one for sure. What are you thinking now that you've heard his defense and everything like that? Are you still want to come with this defense and say it's up to God to decide and it's up to the Lord to decide and really just deflect this and make it strictly about religion when it's not? It's about women who got abused and raped. It has nothing to do with God. So stop making it about that. We leave God's decision up to God. Isn't that how it works? Let me ask this guy. Isn't that how it's supposed to work? We're supposed to leave God's decisions up to God and not make the decisions for him. Isn't that how it works? Please.
Yeah, I mean, when Kelly goes, he's gonna have to answer to God, of course.
Right. We're not the ones who determine what God is going to determine, right? It's up to God.
Of course.
Okay, so then when we want to bring that up, it's kind of irrelevant because we really don't have a say, is what I'm getting from that. Okay,
no,
cool.
100%.
Okay, cool. So the fact that you want to bring that up to me is disgusting. It's you deflecting. I wonder what your intentions are, what your mindset is. Any man that wants to defend R. Kelly at this point, you have to look at yourself, really just look at yourself and learn to separate the man from the music. Okay, learn to separate the man from the music. I get it, but understand that the music came from this man and the music was motivated by these things.
Well, if I could chime in just for a brief second.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, that's the reaction that everybody else is when you hear his defense. But like I said, I'm not surprised. I assumed that a disgusting person would have a disgusting defense. And, I'll be popping bottles and celebrating a bit later on. Viewing public, what are your thoughts?
Hey, would it be wrong? Would it be wrong if Mr. Kelly got convicted and I chose to celebrate while dancing to Step in the Name of Love?
No.
Would that be wrong?
I will join you.
It feels so right. Is it wrong when it feels so right?
Stay tuned in for that episode. Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. DreCey.
Yo, thanks for watching that video, making it all the way to the end. You made it this far, you have to like. Please subscribe and comment on the video as well. Join the conversation.
Absolutely. We finally hit our goal of 500 subscribers. Yes, we are trying to get to 1,000. And we can only do that with your help. You can start by watching that next video. You see that tiny little icon? Click on that icon, rinse and repeat. Deuces.